Welcome to the Straight Out of Home Video podcast, part of the Geeky Waffle Network.
Welcome to a very special Space Waffles Straight Out of Home Video crossover. I'm Arezou.
And I'm Candace.
Today we are talking about Phineas and Ferb Star Wars. So you can see why this became a crossover episode.
Yes, we are in a Phineas and Ferb kick right now. And you know what? For good reason, because this was a delight.
This was so much fun. I'm not even remotely mad about our Phineas and Ferb kick. I've been wanting to watch this one for a while. I put it off, but I'm glad it finally happened.
So the best way I can describe this is it's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, but if that's Phineas and Ferb in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Because it's all of A New Hope, but Phineas
slightly
and Ferb
off-center.
Yeah. On the other side of the camera are Phineas and Ferb having their own adventure. Like they're neighbors with Luke on Tatooine, and they're just like, they're fine because Tatooine is summer all year long.
Picture, if you will, episode 4, and off to the left, Lost Stars is happening, but then off to the right, this is happening. Yeah. It's all happening concurrently, which, you know, it's a busy time to be in the Empire. So this came out in 2014. So this was right after Disney acquired Lucasfilm, but before we had any sequel trilogy, anything really. So for all that it is A New Hope, we do have references across the movies. Like there's Carbonite, there's a Darth Maul reference, which we'll get to. So yeah, so I guess our overall impressions were that we really, really liked this. It was just a normal episode, I think, of the season. It wasn't like a movie like the ones we've done before.
It might be like I think they packaged it though, like a movie on Disney Plus and on DVD too.
It's on its own, like on DVD, it's on its own on Disney Plus, but I think it just ran over the course of season 4. Yeah. So, okay, so the loose plot of this is it kind of mirrors A New Hope, not just in its layout and structure, but also in like the sort of beats that they hit. So Phineas and Ferb are living in perpetual summer on Tatooine, and unlike Luke Skywalker, they don't actually feel the need to leave until the plans for the Death Star just kind of land in their hands. So the Death Star plans are being hunted down not just by the Empire, but by Candace, Buford, and Baljeet, who are all stormtroopers.
Yes.
Which,
oh my God. Okay. The three of them cracked me up the most.
I love their little dynamic.
I know. I don't think we really see them that often together, the three of them. And I lost it. They have also a side mission, which is getting socks for Darth Vader.
Which is how they wind up finding Phineas and Ferb and Mos Eisley, because they bought the socks, and then they come out and they're about to make off with the plans, and then they put 2 and 2 together. So Phineas and Ferb are looking to make a break. They need to get off Tatooine and get the plans to the rebellion. So they hire Isabella and the Centennial Chihuahua to get them off of Tatooine and out to the rebellion. So,
well, they're tracking Luke on the Millennium Falcon. They're trying to get up with the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, so, they're not just like piecing out anywhere. They are looking for the Falcon.
Because they don't know where the rebellion is. So they're like, okay, let's follow Luke. Apparently, Phineas and Ferb gets Jedi lessons from Obi-Wan.
Like every Tuesday, they just get Jedi lessons.
Like, you know how you get like piano lessons as a kid from like the neighborhood person?
I guess we know what Obi-Wan was up to after the show ended. He was giving lessons to Phineas and Ferb.
I just love how they randomly said that. And when they heard the plan say Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're like, oh, it must be Ben Kenobi. Instead of Luke being like, oh, I wonder.
Yeah, they just know for sure because they probably call him both.
Well, they're just smarter than Luke.
Well, it's really not hard to be. It's not hard to be smarter than Luke. So one thing, like before we get to the rest of the plot, one thing I like is, especially in this early bit, we get not only like music lifted directly from A New Hope, but we get entire dialogue exchanges. So the whole bit where Luke wants to go pick up the power converters and he wants to go to Tosche Station, all of that is just repeated from the movie. So it's not like it's not the ripped audio, like they're re-recording it, but it's the same.
Creators Dan Povan and Jeff Swampy Marsh said there's too many Star Wars spoofs that have been done, so they decided to leave like the original film alone. Instead, just add the characters in and have them coexist in the same story.
Which I honestly think is a better approach, because then you kind of get into that fuzziness of like, how they're related separately from this.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to make it work within this dynamic like doesn't work out. So having it be like this, like coexisting rather than replacing, it feels a lot more loving as a parody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And they said you could even cut the original trilogy and this together. Like,
I mean, yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like that's what they do. They're literally just off to the right while the original trilogy is happening.
Yeah, we see little bits, like we see Obi-Wan and Ben. Obi-Wan and Ben are the same person. We see Obi-Wan and Luke like going to Mos Eisley, and just like they're off in the distance, you know?
One thing I did think was interesting is we've talked about this before. Anytime we talk about any Star Wars anything, if C-3PO is there, we're like, and C-3PO is played by Anthony Daniels every single time. He was not played by Anthony Daniels in this version. He was played by Simon Pegg.
So weird.
Which I'm like, we found the one C-3PO thing that's not Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Phineas and Ferb is where he drew the line. Maybe they didn't ask. I don't know.
Oh, something I love in the cantina scene, because it's after Han has left for the Millennium Falcon, is we see them pick up Greedo. Some guys pick up Greedo, and they're like, they said he shot first, but I don't think he did. Like that
They
whole
said no, like they said what was it? It's like they said he shot first, but I think the other guy shot first.
Yes, and I was just cracking up. I'm like, thank you.
See, this is what I mean. It's like loving. Do you know what I mean?
And they know their stuff. Like sometimes when you get some parodies or stuff like that, you're like, they just like kind of scratch their surface. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they just kind of loosely go, we've seen this.
Yeah.
We know this, but these people like understand it.
Yes.
Like, in a loving kind of way.
Definitely.
Another aspect of this that motivates Isabella is she has a rivalry with Han Solo.
Which I love that
he beat her into making the Kessel Run. And he's just like, what, he blew her off course or something and she couldn't make it in 11 parsecs? And she holds him responsible.
I just love that Han Solo's like main rival is like a 10-year-old girl.
But then he treats it extremely seriously.
Yes. That's the other thing, is the other characters are treating it straight.
Yeah. It's not weird. It's not strange. Perry the Platypus that we have not talked about at all.
Oh my God. How have we not talked about Perry? Because he's right at the beginning. He is Rogue One.
He is the one. Yes, he is the one who steals the Death Star plans. And he wants to get them to the rebellion. And unlike in the rest of the series, Phineas and Ferb were very well aware that Perry's a secret agent. And they have parted ways since, so they don't actually live together anymore. But they wish him all the best.
Yeah. And Perry's awesome. Oh, speaking of Perry, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is on the Death Star.
It's what? It's Heinz Darthenschmertz? Yeah, I think I said that right.
He's a lesser Sith. He's like the lessest. He's
a lesser Darth with no force ability.
Yes, and he has a song and dance.
He does have. So we're going to talk about the music in a second, but his whole motivation is he has his Sithinator machine that will turn someone into a Sith, and he just needs a little bit of force power to get it working, which he decides he can get from Darth Vader's trash, which is just so on brand for Dr. Doofenshmirtz to be digging through trash.
Which he uses the creature from the trash compactor.
Yes.
To gather the stuff.
The Dianoga?
Yeah. And at one point, the Dianoga shows him Luke. And he's like, no, that's just a guy. I don't need him.
Little does he know, the force is strong with Luke.
Yes.
So like Candace mentioned, the music in this is Phineas and Ferb level music. It is A+, all earworms.
Yep, all bops.
All bops. Doofenshmirtz gets a song. Phineas and Ferb have a song. Vanessa gets a song. Vanessa plays a Twi'lek.
Yeah.
Played like this is a real thing. Vanessa is a Twi'lek. And for half a second, because they're in the cantina when we first meet Vanessa, and she's singing about how she feels so low, like isn't down, sad, but Isabella takes this as like a personal insult because she's reminding her of Han Solo. So Isabella fires at Vanessa. Vanessa screams and it gets cut off. And for a hot second, I thought she killed Vanessa.
Me too, because it says in the subtitles, Vanessa groans, and I was like,
this 10-year-old just murdered somebody on screen.
Vanessa's her Greedo. No, Vanessa is fine.
Yes, Vanessa's fine. Isabella just blew up her musical instrument or her microphone.
Yes.
She's fine. But where's I going with this? The music. I think like the music, especially at the beginning, the song that Phineas and Ferb sing.
Tatooine.
Okay. Yeah. It's like halfway between like the Phineas and Ferb theme song and just again showing this really sweet love of Star Wars.
Yes.
All rolled in one. And like I feel like I'm so over ironic parody and I'm all about like this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I really like the song at the end, Rebel, Let's Go.
Yes.
It's the song they play after the ceremony because like at the very end of New Hope, Chewbacca roars, and that's the last thing, like the last line of the movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Phineas is like, the Wookiee's right, let's party. They just crack.
It's canon. Oh, okay. So there's an opening crawl to this movie. The last line of which, and none of it is canon anyway, so relax. Because even Phineas and Ferb knows that there is nobody as historically chill as the Star Wars fan.
Yep.
We're all very chill, very calm. We don't take canon seriously at all. It's fine. So, the prequel reference, specifically the Sithinator. So Doofenshmirtz gets his hands, or Darthenshmirtz, I'm sorry, accidentally gets his hands on, I'm sorry, fake fan, gets his hands on Ferb. And accidentally uses the Sithinator on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we'll deal with the problems going on outside and we'll come back and deal with this kid. So he just kind of leaves Ferb there and exits. So by the time Phineas catches up to Ferb has gone full Sith. Right down to the Darth Maul tattoos, and his hair has gone all spiky. And suddenly, in I think the biggest character shift plot twist, Ferb is like talking.
Yeah.
Full sentences, full paragraphs. It's not just one word or another. And like, I don't know. With Phineas like telling him that he doesn't want to fight him and that he's his brother, I'm like, this is surprisingly very emotional.
Yeah, this is like the first time we see the two of them ever have a conflict.
I think so. I don't think I've ever seen them have a fight.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen like most of the episodes in the past few years. And yeah.
Like, Phineas is like on the verge of crying. He genuinely doesn't want to fight him.
It was very emotional, very on brand for Star Wars with fighting between family,
Speaking of family, so Candace joined the Empire because she likes order, she likes rules, she likes ratting people out, and I'm like, and if this isn't Sienna from Lost Stars, I don't know what is.
Also, a Candace in Star Wars.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, finally, it's about time.
That's the representation you wanted.
The stormtrooper who's in charge of getting Darth Vader his socks.
She's a stormtrooper snitch.
Okay, can I tell you about the line that just made me lose it? Okay, so it's Phineas saves Candace. She's about to fall off like one of the bridges.
Yeah, the
similar one that Luke and Leia swing across.
Yes.
Actually, that's happening at the same time of this. And she's having like an extra, what is it called?
Existential crisis.
Yes, she's having one of those because rebels just saved her. And she's talking to Buford and
Baljeet.
Baljeet. Why am I forgetting their names now?
Something in the air.
And she says, we're the good guys, right? And Hoover goes, yeah, that's what they told us during the brainwashing.
I'm telling you, it's lost stars.
So smart. It's so funny. And Candace is like, we blew up a planet. And Majis is like, that's hard to argue with.
But as we learn at the end, all the baristas and bowling alley attendants got off just fine.
I know. I love it. Because they're like upset. They're like,
okay.
Oh, yes. Because there is a scene where we see them at the Imperial Bank. Like, they're in line.
Mm-hmm.
And some rebels are doing stuff. And one of the like Imperials was like, I'm not losing my place in this line. I'm going to go out and do it. So, Arezou, I don't know if many people know this, and I don't know if you want it out there. You know the language. You know a little bit of Arabic.
I can read it. Yes, I can read Arabic.
Did you notice the Arabic in the Death Star schematics?
I did not. What did it say?
It said, you got a joke no one else did. If you have paused this and translated this into English, congratulations. Now go impress your friends.
Very nice. You impressed me.
I thought it was really cute that they did that.
I think if I'd had a bit more time watching this, I would have paused it and tried, but I didn't have a chance. But yes, that was my party trick. I used to use that with my students to get them to behave. I would write their names in Arabic if they did all their work. But yeah, so Candace, it turns out, is not just a snitching stormtrooper. She is actually Phineas's sister.
Yeah, they think they're about to get blown up because Luke's
blown up the Death Star. The trench run is happening, and Candace and Phineas kind of have a moment where it's like, oh, you look familiar. You look like my sister who left. You look like my brother. And then they realize that they are siblings.
Yeah.
Except she did not know that their mom had married Ferb's dad. So I don't know how long ago she left or how long they've been married.
Yeah, and it was really cute because Ferb started hugging her too.
And she's like, who's this guy?
Who's this kid hugging me too? It's like, that's our brother. And Phineas is about to tell her the story about what happened to their dad and or how they met or something like that.
No, it was what happened to their dad, and then the Death Star blew up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're fine. Isabella gets them out, but I don't know if you also subscribe to the fan theory that Doofenshmirtz is their dad, because I do.
Oh my god, I know that theory.
He and Phineas have the same shaped head.
That is so
There's a fan theory. There's a fan theory. I don't know if it's just that he's Phineas's dad or if he's both of their dads, because he and their mom went on a date once. Which, okay, if they were to continue this into the next one, having Darth and Schmertz be Phineas's father, that would track. I cracked it.
Is Vanessa older than Candace?
I think they're the same age. Or maybe a year older. I don't know. Vanessa's mom left.
Yeah.
And Doofenshmirtz started messing around with Phineas and Ferb's mom.
We know Phineas and Ferb's mom was in that shady place in Chippendales.
I'm telling you.
There's something up there.
They had an affair. At least they slept together at least twice.
I mean, and Phineas is super smart and he invents things just like Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of related, at the very end, Isabella's like, are we related?
And Phineas is like, no. And then she gives him a kiss.
And I'm like, that doesn't stop anyone in Star Wars before.
Yeah, it didn't stop Luke and Leia. It's not going to stop Isabella. So I tried looking up a Rotten Tomatoes score for this. It does not exist.
Because it's too good.
It's too good. I'm giving it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Me too.
That's what it deserves.
Again, this was done so lovingly.
We're not going to get into too much detail because we can't talk about it just yet, but something I noticed, actually we can talk about this a bit because this isn't the first time. It is very appropriate for Dr. Doofenshmirtz to be playing the Darth Vader parallel because I have found Lego Darth Vader reminds me an awful lot of Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
He does. He really does.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe we can put our finger on that somehow, but it's just something about this exhausted supervillain who means well, and he's kind of a dork, and he's really tired with like his superiors, and he just would kind of like to do his own schemes without consulting with anyone.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of like, I don't know.
They're both dads,
They're both dads. They're both like soft and nerdy.
Yeah.
In like a dad way. So I don't know. I thought it was very appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's logical that Doofenshmirtz would be playing the Darth Vader character, but
I did like that one scene where the Imperial gives him a bag, Vader the bag, and he's like, thought it was gonna be socks, but it was a sandwich, and he's like, I find your lack of socks disturbing. And I know that's
he just murders a guy. All right. This is a short episode, but this was also like a short episode of
it was an hour. It was 2 episodes, so it was an hour.
It was an hour long.
Yeah.
And about half of it was the original Star Wars. Which, if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you have seen. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. So do you have any final thoughts on Phineas and Ferb? Star Wars.
Oh, WatchMojo.com named this special the 4th best Star Wars themed television episode.
What were the other 3?
One second.
I mean, was it the 3 Family Guy ones?
Oh, it's a YouTube video.
Oh, then
I'm not watching that shit. Sorry.
Yeah, like when you compare it to other like Star Wars themed television episodes, I think I like it the best.
Yeah,
and having like grown up with them, like with Family Guy and with all the other like sort of Star Wars themed, Robot Chicken, I think did them. Like I think I prefer this to that.
Yeah, I do like the Robot. I really like Robot Chicken's Emperor.
Okay.
I think that Palpatine is hilarious, but I also think the Lego Palpatine is hilarious too.
Oh, I love Lego Palpatine. I will say for the Family Guy ones, for the longest time, I used to walk around saying something, something, something dark side. The way he does. In like a sinister way that I'm not going to do right now. But so yeah, it's not that those weren't iconic, but I don't know. I think this was sweeter.
Yeah, and I feel like it had more Star Wars references, you know?
It did. Although I do like the idea of Candace like growing up during her song singing about how she joined the Empire. Like all of a sudden it becomes so un-Star Warsy. She's just at like a suburban high school in a suburban house and she's just dressed like a stormtrooper. I'm like, there is a reason everybody's looking at you funny. And it's not because you stand up straight. And no shade to the nerds who wear their geeky stuff to school, but if you're in full stormtrooper gear, like, you know, people are going to stare. I don't know. On that note.
Yeah. Definitely, especially if you have watched Phineas and Ferb before. Highly recommend.
Yes. I don't think you have to have seen all of Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
But
I think you need to be like slightly familiar with the characters. I think you'll get more of a kick out of it if you are.
Yeah, if not, it's a sweet way to spend an hour. But if you are like familiar with Phineas and Ferb, yeah, I think it's definitely more enjoyable. So next week, we're going to keep going on this short animation kick, and we're going to be talking about the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation, which both of us have seen.
It's
and
so good.
Both of us loved. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have some friends on. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be good. Alrighty, so Candace, where can the listeners find you online?
You can find me at Candace is a Geek on Twitter, and yeah, I'm just all over the internet. That's the best place to find me. Arezou, I think there's like a special Twitter announcement,
yes,
maybe.
We do have a special Twitter announcement. While you can still find me personally at Arezou, you can officially now find this podcast on Twitter on its own at Space Waffles Pod. Which, yes, after a year of pressure, I caved and I made a Twitter account for the podcast.
It wasn't just pressure; it was bullying. I was straight up bullied into it,
but we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, network-wise, you can find us at geeky_waffle on Twitter, the Geeky Waffle at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, thegeekywaffle.com, and geekywaffle.com. Nope, that's not right. And patreon.com/thegeekywaffle, and that's where all of our Waffles After Dark stuff goes. So thank you all so much for listening. This is shaping up to be the best summer ever, and may the waffles be with you.